Chapter 16. The Third Murder. Spade went into the Hotel Sutler and telephoned the Alexandria. Gutman was not in. No member of Gutman's party was in. Spade telephoned the Belvedere. Cairo was not in, had not been in that day. Spade went to his office. A short, greasy man in notable clothes was waiting in the outer room. Effie Perrine, indicating the short man, said, "This gentleman wishes to see you, Mr. Spade." Spade smiled and bowed and opened the inner door. "Come in." Before following the man in, Spade asked Effie Perrine, "Any news on that other matter?" "No, sir." The short man was the proprietor of a moving picture theater in Market Street. He suspected one of his cashiers and a doorman of colluding to defraud him. Spade hurried him through the story, promised to take care of it, asked for and received $50, and got rid of him in less than half an hour. When the corridor door had closed behind the showman, Effie Perrine came into the inner office. Her sunburned face was worried and questioning. "You haven't found her yet?" she asked. He shook his head and went on stroking his bruised temple lightly in circles with his fingertips. "How is it?" she asked. "All right, but I've got plenty of headache." She went around behind him, put his hand down, and stroked his temple with her slender fingers. He leaned back until the back of his head over the chair top rested against her breast. He said, "You're an angel." She bent her head forward over his and looked down into his face. "You've got to find her, Sam. It's more than a day and she..." He stirred and impatiently interrupted her. "I haven't got to do anything, but if you'll let me rest this damned head a minute or two, I'll go out and find her." She murmured, "Poor head," and stroked it in silence a while. Then she asked, "You know where she is? Have you any idea?" The telephone bell rang. Spade picked up the telephone and said, "Hello." "Yes, Sid, it came out all right, thanks." "No." "Sure." He got snotty, but so did I. He's nursing a gambler's warpipe dream. "Well, we didn't kiss when we parted." I declared my weight and walked out on him. "That's something for you to worry about." "Right. Bye." He put the telephone down and leaned back in his chair again. Effie Perrine came from behind him and stood at his side. She demanded, "Do you think you know where she is, Sam?" "I know where she went," he replied in a grudging tone. "Where?" She was excited. "Down to the boat you saw burning." Her eyes opened until their brown was surrounded by white. "You went down there." It was not a question. "I did not," Spade said. "Sam," she cried angrily, "she may be." "She went down there," he said in a surly voice. "She wasn't taken." "She went down there instead of to your house when she learned the boat was in." "Well, what the hell? Am I supposed to run around after my clients begging them to let me help them?" "But Sam, when I told you the boat was on fire." "That was at noon and I had a date with Paul House and another with Brian." She glared at him between tightened lids. "Sam Spade," she said, "you're the most contemptible man God ever made when you want to be. Because she did something without confiding in you, you'd sit here and do nothing when you know she's in danger, when you know she might be." Spade's face flushed. He said stubbornly, "She's pretty capable of taking care of herself, and she knows where to come for help when she thinks she needs it, and when it suits her." "That's spite," the girl cried, "and that's all it is. You're sore because she did something on her own hook, without telling you. Why shouldn't she? You're not so damned honest, and you haven't been so much on the level with her that she should trust you completely." Spade said, "That's enough of that." His tone brought a brief uneasy glint into her hot eyes, but she tossed her head and the glint vanished. Her mouth was drawn taut and small. She said, "If you don't go down there this very minute, Sam, I will, and I'll take the police down there." Her voice trembled, broke, and was thin and wailing. "Oh, Sam, go." He stood up cursing her. Then he said, "Christ. It'll be easier on my head than sitting here listening to you squawk." He looked at his watch. "You might as well lock up and go home." She said, "I won't. I'm going to wait right here till you come back." He said, "Do as you damned please," put his hat on, flinched, took it off, and went out carrying it in his hand. An hour and a half later, at 20 minutes past 5, Spade returned. He was cheerful. He came in asking, "What makes you so hard to get along with, sweetheart?" "Me?" "Yes, you." He put a finger on the tip of Effie Perrine's nose and flattened it. He put his hands under her elbows, lifted her straight up, and kissed her chin. He set her down on the floor again and asked, "Anything doing while I was gone?" "Luke, what's his name?" "At the Belvedere called up to tell you Cairo has returned." "That was about half an hour ago." Spade snapped his mouth shut, turned with a long step, and started for the door. "Did you find her?" the girl called. "Tell you about it when I'm back," he replied without pausing and hurried out. A taxicab brought Spade to the Belvedere within 10 minutes of his departure from his office. He found Luke in the lobby. The hotel detective came grinning and shaking his head to meet Spade. 15 minutes late, he said. "Your bird has fluttered." Spade cursed his luck. "Checked out, gone bag and baggage," Luke said. He took a battered memorandum book from a vest pocket, licked his thumb, thumbed pages, and held the book out open to Spade. "There's the number of the taxi that hauled him. I got that much for you." "Thanks." Spade copied the number on the back of an envelope. "Any forwarding address?" "No. He just come in carrying a big suitcase and went upstairs and packed and come down with his stuff and paid his bill and got a taxi and went without anybody being able to hear what he told the driver." "How about his trunk?" Luke's lower lip sagged. "By God," he said, "I forgot that." "Come on." They went up to Cairo's room. The trunk was there. It was closed, but not locked. They raised the lid. The trunk was empty. Luke said, "What do you know about that?" Spade did not say anything. Spade went back to his office. Effie Perrine looked up at him inquisitively. "Missed him," Spade grumbled and passed into his private room. She followed him in. He sat in his chair and began to roll a cigarette. She sat on the desk in front of him and put her toes on a corner of his chair seat. "What about Miss O'Shaughnessy?" she demanded. "I missed her too," he replied, "but she had been there." "On the La Paloma?" "The law is a lousy combination," he said. "Stop it. Be nice, Sam. Tell me." He set fire to his cigarette, pocketed his lighter, patted her shins, and said, "Yes, La Paloma. She got down there at a little afternoon yesterday." He pulled his brows down. "That means she went straight there after leaving the cab at the ferry building. It's only a few piers away. The captain wasn't aboard. His name's Jacoby, and she asked for him by name. He was uptown on business." That would mean he didn't expect her, or not at that time anyway. She waited there till he came back at 4 o'clock. They spent the time from then till mealtime in his cabin, and she ate with him. He inhaled and exhaled smoke, turned his head aside to spit a yellow tobacco flake off his lip, and went on. After the meal, Captain Jacoby had 3 more visitors. One of them was Gutman, and one was Cairo, and one was the kid who delivered Gutman's message to you yesterday. Those 3 came together while Bridget was there, and the 5 of them did a lot of talking in the captain's cabin. It's hard to get anything out of the crew, but they had a row, and somewhere around 11 o'clock that night a gun went off there, in the captain's cabin. The watchman beat it down there, but the captain met him outside and told him everything was all right. There's a fresh bullet hole in one corner of the cabin, up high enough to make it likely that the bullet didn't go through anybody to get there. As far as I could learn, there was only the one shot. But as far as I could learn wasn't very far. He scowled and inhaled smoke again. "Well, they left around midnight, the captain and his 4 visitors all together, and all of them seemed to have been walking all right. I got that from the watchman. I haven't been able to get hold of the custom house men who were on duty there then. That's all of it. The captain hasn't been back since. He didn't keep a date. He had this noon with some shipping agents, and they haven't found him to tell him about the fire." "And the fire?" she asked. Spade shrugged. "I don't know. It was discovered in the hold, aft, in the rear basement, late this morning. The chances are it got started sometime yesterday. They got it out all right, though it did damage enough. Nobody liked to talk about it much while the captain's away. It's the corridor door opened." Spade shut his mouth. Effie Perrine jumped down from the desk, but a man opened the connecting door before she could reach it. "Where's Spade?" the man asked. His voice brought Spade up erect and alert in his chair. It was a voice harsh and rasping with agony, and with the strain of keeping two words from being smothered by the liquid bubbling that ran under and behind them. Effie Perrine, frightened, stepped out of the man's way. He stood in the doorway with his soft hat crushed between his head and the top of the doorframe. He was nearly 7 feet tall. A black overcoat cut long and straight and like a sheath, buttoned from throat to knees, exaggerated his leanness. His shoulders stuck out, high, thin, angular. His bony face, weather-coarsened, age-lined, was the color of wet sand and was wet with sweat on cheeks and chin. His eyes were dark and bloodshot and matte above lower lids that hung down to show pink inner membrane. Held tight against the left side of his chest by a black-sleeved arm that ended in a yellowish claw was a brown paper-wrapped parcel bound with thin rope, an ellipsoid somewhat larger than an American football. The tall man stood in the doorway, and there was nothing to show that he saw Spade. He said, "You know," and then the liquid bubbling came up in his throat and submerged whatever else he said. He put his other hand over the hand that held the ellipsoid. Holding himself stiffly straight, not putting his hands out to break his fall, he fell forward as a tree falls. Spade, wooden-faced and nimble, sprang from his chair and caught the falling man. When Spade caught him, the man's mouth opened and a little blood spurted out, and the brown-wrapped parcel dropped from the man's hands and rolled across the floor until a foot of the desk stopped it. Then the man's knees bent, and he bent at the waist, and his thin body became limber inside the sheath-like overcoat, sagging in Spade's arms so that Spade could not hold it up from the floor. Spade lowered the man carefully until he lay on the floor on his left side. The man's eyes, dark and bloodshot, but not now mad, were wide open and still. His mouth was open as when blood had spurted from it, but no more blood came from it, and all his long body was as still as the floor it lay on. Spade said, "Lock the door." While Effie Perrine, her teeth chattering, fumbled with the corridor door's lock, Spade knelt beside the thin man, turned him over on his back, and ran a hand down inside his overcoat. When he withdrew the hand, presently it came out smeared with blood. The sight of his bloody hand brought not the least nor briefest of changes to Spade's face. Holding that hand up where it would touch nothing, he took his lighter out of his pocket with his other hand. He snapped on the flame and held the flame close to first one and then the other of the thin man's eyes. The eyes' lids, balls, irises, and pupils remained frozen immobile. Spade extinguished the flame and returned the lighter to his pocket. He moved on his knees around to the dead man's side and, using his one clean hand, unbuttoned and opened the tubular overcoat. The inside of the overcoat was wet with blood, and the double-breasted blue jacket beneath it was sodden. The jacket's lapels, where they crossed over the man's chest, and both sides of his coat immediately below that point, were pierced by soggy, ragged holes. Spade rose and went to the wash bowl in the outer office. Effie Perrine, wan and trembling and holding herself upright by means of a hand on the corridor door's knob and her back against its glass, whispered, Is he?" "Yes." Shot through the chest, maybe half a dozen times. Spade began to wash his hands. "Ennui?" She began, but he cut her short. "It's too late for a doctor now, and I've got to think before we do anything." He finished washing his hands and began to rinse the bowl. He couldn't have come far with those in him. Why in hell couldn't he have stood up long enough to say something? He frowned at the girl, rinsed his hands again, and picked up a towel. "Pull yourself together. For Christ's sake, don't get sick on me now." He threw the towel down and ran fingers through his hair. "We'll have a look at that bundle." He went into the inner office again, stepped over the dead man's legs, and picked up the brown paper-wrapped parcel. When he felt its weight, his eyes glowed. He put it on his desk, turning it over so that the knotted part of the rope was uppermost. The knot was hard and tight. He took out his pocket knife and cut the rope. The girl had left the door and, edging around the dead man with her face turned away, had come to Spade's side. As she stood there, hands on a corner of the desk, watching him pull the rope loose and push aside brown paper, excitement began to supplant nausea in her face. "Do you think it is?" she whispered. We'll soon know, Spade said, his big fingers busy with the inner husk of coarse gray paper, 3 sheets thick, that the brown paper's removal had revealed. His face was hard and dull. His eyes were shining. When he had put the gray paper out of the way, he had an egg-shaped mass of pale excelsior, wadded tight. His fingers tore the wad apart, and then he had the foot-high figure of a bird, black as coal and shiny where its polish was not dulled by wood dust and fragments of excelsior. Spade laughed. He put a hand down on the bird. His widespread fingers had ownership in their curving. He put his other arm around Effie Perrine and crushed her body against his. "We've got the damned thing, Angel," he said. "Ouch," she said, "you're hurting me." He took his arm away from her, picked the black bird up in both hands, and shook it to dislodge clinging excelsior. Then he stepped back, holding it up in front of him, and blew dust off it, regarding it triumphantly. Effie Perrine made a horrified face and screamed, pointing at his feet. He looked down at his feet. His last backward step had brought his left heel into contact with the dead man's hand, pinching a 1/4 inch of flesh at a side of the palm between heel and floor. Spade jerked his foot away from the hand. The telephone bell rang. He nodded at the girl. She turned to the desk and put the receiver to her ear. She said, "Hello." "Yes." "Who?" "Oh, yes." Her eyes became large. "Yes. Yes." "Hold the line." Her mouth suddenly stretched wide and fearful. She cried, "Hello. Hello. Hello." She rattled the prong up and down and cried, "Hello," twice. Then she sobbed and spun around to face Spade, who was close beside her by now. "It was Miss O'Shaughnessy," she said wildly. "She wants you. She's at the Alexandria, in danger." Her voice was, "Oh, it was awful, Sam." And something happened to her before she could finish. "Go help her, Sam." Spade put the Falcon down on the desk and scowled gloomily. "I've got to take care of this fellow first," he said, pointing his thumb at the thin corpse on the floor. She beat his chest with her fists, crying, "No, no, you've got to go to her. Don't you see, Sam? He had the thing that was hers, and he came to you with it. Don't you see? He was helping her, and they killed him, and now she's, oh, you've got to go." "All right." Spade pushed her away and bent over his desk, putting the black bird back into its nest of excelsior, bending the paper around it, working rapidly, making a larger and clumsy package. "As soon as I've gone, phone the police. Tell them how it happened, but don't drag any names in. You don't know. I got the phone call and I told you I had to go out, but I didn't say where." He cursed the rope for being tangled, yanked it into straightness, and began to bind the package. "Forget this thing. Tell it as it happened, but forget he had a bundle." He chewed his lower lip. "Unless they pin you down. If they seem to know about it, you'll have to admit it. But that's not likely. If they do, then I took the bundle away with me unopened." He finished tying the knot and straightened up with the parcel under his left arm. "Get it straight now. Everything happened the way it did happen, but without this dingus unless they already know about it. Don't deny it. Just don't mention it. And I got the phone call, not you. And you don't know anything about anybody else having any connection with this fellow. You don't know anything about him, and you can't talk about my business until you see me. Got it?" "Yes, Sam. Who do you know who he is?" He grinned wolfishly. "Uh-huh," he said, "but I'd guess he was Captain Jacoby, master of La Paloma." He picked up his hat and put it on. He looked thoughtfully at the dead man and then around the room. "Hurry, Sam," the girl begged. "Sure," he said absent-mindedly, "I'll hurry. Might not hurt to get those few scraps of excelsior off the floor before the police come. And maybe you ought to try to get hold of Sid." "No." He rubbed his chin. "We'll leave him out of it a while. It'll look better. I'd keep the door locked till they come." He took his hand from his chin and rubbed her cheek. "You're a damned good man, sister," he said and went out.